Hi everybody, my name is Dan Kumo and I'm a program manager on the Azure Edge and Platform core networking team. Part of my role is to ensure that Edge customers get the most out of their network hardware investment on Azure Stack HCI. Today, I'm going to show you how Network HUD, a new feature in 22H2, can identify when you're unable to realize the full benefit of the hardware you've purchased due to a physical misconfiguration that limits the bandwidth on your network adapters. Here's a 22H2 Azure Stack HCI host with two virtual machines, VM01 and VM02. In the output from these PowerShell commands, you can see two VMs, each with one VM NIC attached to the same vSwitch. These two vNICs have been load balanced across the two physical NICs, PNIC 11 and PNIC 12, in the vSwitch team. This means that VM01 will use PNIC 11, which should be capable of delivering around 100 gigabits worth of bandwidth, while VM02 will use PNIC 12, which should also be capable of delivering around 100 gigabits. Now let's take a look at the virtual machines to see how much traffic they can actually send. First, we'll run a traffic test on each VM to ensure that each is capable of receiving around 100 gigabits. Here's VM02 receiving over 95 gigabits of traffic. And here's VM01 receiving a similar amount of traffic. Now let's see what happens when each VM attempts to receive this amount of traffic simultaneously. Remember that each VM is load balanced across the physical adapters that are capable of receiving over 95 gigabits each. Now that VM02 has resumed sending traffic, there's an immediate drop in VM01 throughput. It's clear that the VMs are contending with one another and are bottlenecked on some resource. In this case, this is because PNIC 11 and PNIC 12 share a PCIe slot, slot 7, which does not have enough PCIe bandwidth to achieve maximum throughput on both ports simultaneously. To verify this, we'll log into our BMC for the server to see the PCIe settings for this device in slot 7. While slot 3 and slot 6 are both X16 slots, slot 7 is where the dual-port PNIC 11 and PNIC 12 reside. The adapters are bottlenecked by the PCIe bandwidth available to slot 7. Now, with the November 2022 Network HUD content update, Network HUD will inform you of this configuration issue. The Network HUD health faults integrate with the Cluster Health service. There's nothing new you need to configure. As a result, you can use the rich experience you're already familiar with, enabled through Insights in the Azure portal. By clicking on the fault, we get a list of details needed to determine next steps. For example, the faulting resource ID indicates the node that the fault occurred on. The description indicates the adapters affected, the network ATC intents that have been affected, and the slot that is experiencing the problem. In this case, Network HUD is unable to automatically remediate this issue because it requires a hardware change, so it provides a recommendation for how you can solve the problem. In this video, you've seen how PCIe bandwidth oversubscription can affect the performance of your workloads. Now with Network HUD on Azure Stack HCI, we can quickly detect this issue and alert you to the problem. Stay tuned to find out more about how Network HUD will make diagnostic issues visible on Azure Stack HCI.